Hello everybody and welcome to the Golden One channel. Thank you all for being here, those who have come, and I honor you all. So today we are going to be doing one facet of what this channel is going to be about, and that's going to be about card readings. I am really fascinated and passionate about pulling cards for people. It's not something I do very often because I usually use my, psychic abilities to tap in and work with people that way. But I do really enjoy using cards, and this is actually a great way where I can expand on that for myself and reach people who I may never even come in contact with any way, shape, or form. So my goal is always just to help and provide support and guidance with love, and all in ways that's for the highest good of all, always. So that is my intent here today. I'll just set a grounding prayer, a protecting prayer real quick. I've already done this off camera, but I will do so on camera as well. Typically what I do is I imagine a pillar of white light surrounding me and my experience and my physical and energy bodies and the energy of the cards themselves. And I always state that only that which is for the highest good of all may come through any reading that I do, and this applies to this reading here today. Thank you, and let us move on. So the way this all will work is essentially you, as the viewer, will choose which stack of cards here you resonate with. And if you resonate with multiple, great, then both of those messages for you, or bits and pieces of each message is for you. But essentially choose one stack, and the intention of this particular video today will be just overall guidance. It's gonna show a little bit about where you're at, it's gonna show a little bit about how you're doing, and it's gonna show a little bit about overall guidance on where to aim your arrow, so to speak. So that will head through that way. It's going to be a mix between intuitive, and I'll also be reading the handy oracle card decks, or books I should say, that come with a little bit more information. I won't be reading every word, but I will be reading the words that I am guided to read off through the books. As always, with any reading, I think it's important to note, whether it's with me or anybody else that you receive a reading, is that it's important to just, take it all in as it resonates. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine. No harm done. Just leave it there. But if it resonates with you, then give it more thought and feel into it, see how it feels like for you. And if it's guidance, then figure out how you can apply it to your life. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. So start on the left hand side here. We're gonna start with 1, and then 2, and then 3. So if you only resonate with maybe 2 or 3, or whatever you decide, whatever you feel like is right for you, go ahead and feel free to skip to the part of the video where I begin that section. Now this is the top card, and the rest of the cards that I have pulled in each section I have not seen, so it's just going to be totally intuitive, rapid fire. Let me move these back. Actually, I don't think I'll be needing them, so I'll move them away for the time being. Okie dokie, let's get to it. So, stack number 1. Let's go ahead and put these to the side. Okay, so first thing that we see, it's a very beautiful card. We've got beautiful castle-like structure. It's in the clouds. The name of your card is called Midhaven, and then the subname, or I guess category, or whatever you would call that, it says Pinnacle. It's card number 36. If that resonates with you, sometimes the numbers are important when a card reading, sometimes they're not. So you feel into that to see what it feels. We have a sun in the background, really bright, very vibrant. We got birds flying around. And what this says to me, it says that you're in a very beautiful place. You're in a very uplifting place. And not only that, it's also a sign that you might be heading to a beautiful place, like a high point or like a golden age for your life, essentially. So this is what this card is telling me here. To gain a little bit more context, we're going to pull this next card. So this says, let me turn it over, give without expectation. However, it's upside down, which I do want to take that into account. A lot of times card readers will do this, more particularly in tarot. If you're a card reader, you can do any which way you do this. I think that there's always nuances and there's always little details that sometimes be overlooked. I could have very easily turned this card over and, right side up and read it that way. But I think there's always meaning behind it. And I pulled it, I didn't look at it, and this is how it came out. So, gift without expectation. So I think since it's inverted, the meaning behind this card here today is that maybe you're giving too much and expecting. So maybe it's, instead of doing that, you have to flip that into giving without expectation. Or for example, maybe you're expecting too much, but you're not giving any. So there's, up to interpretation. I'll let you decide on that. But essentially, that is what that card says. I wonder if this is in order. So this is supposed to be the first card and it's building up. So maybe these are key details, maybe to get to here, this beautiful card, or if you're here to continue down this path, you have to follow through this deck of cards to kind of help guide you in a way that's fully aligned with your, with your current path and the things that are important in your life. So I will read off my little handy dandy book for card number 36 over here. I feel like that one is important to read off, and now is the time to read that. So let's go ahead and pull out the book real quick, and we'll do that. Okay. The Midhaven contains clues about how your family trained you to be visible in the world, your relationships to other people's authority, and how you step into your own personal authority. It describes the future mountaintop, the pinnacle of your work in the world. The Midhaven is the highest point at the chart, where the sun would be at midday. This most public, visible point of the chart acts like the flagpole on top of your personal castle. So, very similar to what I said before. The part I'm actually guided to read, there's 3 parts here. There's an action section, a challenge section. Essentially, action means what you need to do to attain this card, I guess. Challenge would be what are challenges for you that you might run into, and gift is more of like your reaping of the gift that this card has brought to you. So I'm guided to read the gift section only. So the gift. Underneath all worldly sense of ambition is a soul's longing to live out its potential. Listen to the call, which I love that because I highly resonate with following your life purpose and being divinely guided or being guided or whatever, or guiding yourself in a path of which that brings you more love, more joy, more happiness in your life, and more, more wholeness to your life. And the only way you're ever going to do that is if you follow what we call as your life purpose. So, with that being said, we're putting that here on the left side. I'm guided to do that. So next card, again, inverted. It says, accept struggles as lessons. So maybe, since it's inverted, it could be meaning that there are lessons that you're not accepting at this time, that are struggles, but you're kind of like, it's like trying to fight the current, essentially. You're going upstream when you should just be riding the direction of the flow of water. That's what that tells me. That's about all I'm guided to say, so I'm going to go ahead and put that there. These are going to kind of create like a great foundational base to what we're doing here. With, you know, it's probably going to end up being a triangle. I love triangles. I love pyramids. It's all my jam. So why not create this beautiful collage? So the next card here is of my dragon deck. This one's called Pure White Dragon from Orion. Transforms your ascension knowledge into pure wisdom. It also says, process what you know, act with truth and honesty, let your wings of light grow and expand. Now, this is a new deck, so I haven't really broken in very much, but I will tell you that this feels like a very powerful card. It feels like a very bright card, a very, you know, light-filled card that's filled with power, ambition, light, driving force, and motivation. And ascension, it says right here, transform your ascension knowledge into pure wisdom. So it's like the apex or the peak here in this card, that's like you're transforming what you've learned and known, putting into action, which then leads you to the peak point. That's essentially what I'm feeling off of what the overall message is going on here. So that card's going to go here on the left. The next card we have is from pretty much it's like a crystal deck. It shows different crystals and their meanings, and they're beautiful, beautiful cards. They got this really cool like rose gold lining on the sides. They're gorgeous. So number 13 is the number of this card. It is calcite is the crystal that's in the center. Resonates with the energies of the moon, and it also resonates with the energies of transition. So this may mean if you're a crystal collector, you might need to go find yourself some calcite in your life. It looks like it could be an optical calcite. The picture that's on here, I also work and sell crystals as well, so I'm pretty well versed on the different types, and this looks like an optical calcite to me. Now, what's different about this here is that it's not just calcite stone and that's it. You got some clouds here in the background, reminiscent of this card. Beautiful rainbow light here. We got the moon with a crescent shape here. I'm not sure what the moon formation is but that might be significant for you. It's the one where it's only a really small portion of the moon is being shown. We got a butterfly, which is very powerful symbolism of transformation and transmutation. And then here at the bottom, it looks like there's like a cocoon, like a cocooning. So going through a metamorphosis, going through a transition or transformation. You get some beautiful greenery there. I'm not really feeling much off of that, but that's what I'm getting off of that card. So this deck, my second favorite deck of the whole thing, I will turn it around for viewers' sake. It is number 21, and it is called The Gatherer. And this one I will read off the book full on through. That's what I feel like I should do. It is inverted, but in this particular case, I do feel like this one is probably gonna come through in the book as needed. So let me grab that real quick off camera. Page 20, number 21. Okay, one more. And again, like the other book, this has 3 sections. Read them real quickly. We got the essence, the invitation, and the medicine. So essentially what the card means, actions to be taken in the invitation, and the medicine, it's like how can you heal from the energy of this card, or work, how can you work on shadow work or things like that. So the essence, before we cultivate gains, we collect, before we cultivate gains, we collected the wild bounty of nature. The gatherer finds abundant seeds, nuts, berries, and wild greens, where the ordinary person sees only barren soil. So this is like the energy of a businessman or an entrepreneur. If you've been thinking about starting a business or working towards being an entrepreneur in your life, this energy really resonates with that. So continuing on, it says the gatherer is the provider, the forager, and the gardener who collects roots and vegetables for the long winter when game is scarce. She does not hoard, trusting the bounty around her. That is the essence of the card. The invitation of the card, or the action to take that pertains to this, it says, look at the resources you already have close at hand. This is a time of abundance. Everything around you is ripe and ready for harvest. Banish the notions of scarcity that have limited your choices and colored your destiny. Pack your food for winter and start with the low-hanging fruit that is all around you. So this particular section, I am shown in my third eye while I was reading, back in its inverted state, as it were there. So maybe it means kind of the opposite of what this is saying. So it's saying, look at the resources you already have close at hand. So maybe it's saying, maybe there isn't resources close at hand that you have to look at. Maybe it's working with what you got already or have worked with, I guess. Not necessarily what you currently have, what you have worked with. In working with those previous resources, how to, maybe that knowledge you have learned before, or long since past, that is really essential and valid in your life now. This is the time of abundance. So the opposite of that might be, this is not necessarily an abundant time frame, which could be, it's time to reap, or time to start planting those seeds, time to start growing, time to start putting in the labor so that you will one day reap the abundance, or that you will reap what you sow, essentially. Everything around you is ripe and ready for harvest. So again, the opposite of that would be, you're working with a fully plain garden. You have to start planting everything and growing and working the farm, so to speak, to then eventually gain the harvest. So that's about all I'm feeling guided to read about that section. So we're going to go ahead and turn it back around. And the medicine section. Do not wander too far afield in search for what Spirit has already provided. Practice paying it forward, being thankful in advance of receiving. If you are in scarcity mindset, open your heart to look beyond current conditions and you will find the bounty being offered to you. Practice sharing, not hoarding, which is resonates a lot with this card right here. The give without expectation. So practice sharing, not hoarding. Enough said with that. Anything else I feel about this? I feel like it's pretty well rounded. It's reached what the overall message was supposed to be. To me, I feel like, this is your base, your foundational base. This is where you're currently at. You've got all this pure knowledge. Time to turn it into wisdom to lead you here. You're coming from a place where there's, I guess, in a way, barren landscape, and you have to turn that into a beautiful garden. And then, a stage of transformation and transformation. So this is your base. This is where you're at. You build upwards, essentially. Now these are, I guess, what you would call lessons or obstacles or things to work on, essentially, to build up to this card. So I think this particular card, or this particular pool of cards, leads upward like this. These other ones may not. If you're following, if you're watching this whole video for some of the other sections of the other readings here, they may be a little bit different. I always allow myself to be totally guided. So for this particular set of cards, it looks like it's building up. So start at the top. This is kind of your end goal, end all be all kind of thing, so to speak. This is where you want to reach. This is your potential, reaching your peak, your golden age, your beautiful castle in the clouds with the sun shining on you. But in order to get that, this is where you are. This is what you have to do. Then you will have that. All right, so that wraps up section number 1 here with our Midhaven card number 36. Okay, starting on number 2. Oh, let's put this right over here. Okay, so number 2, we've got our first card on top, which is actually out of the crystal deck. We are going to start with this one here. It's number 17. So the resonates with the vibrations with Regulus star, which I'm not familiar with what that is. So it might be a Regulus, I should say, Regulus star. Oh, there's a space there I didn't see. Look up what that means in your favorite spiritual-minded website. So I don't know if you can see that on camera, but that is the word Regulus star right here. I don't know if that, I know there's a glare, so I'm trying to avoid that on the camera. Anyway, okay. So, we got abundance here, and then we've also got smoky Amazonite for the crystal that's in the center. So we've got kind of a big cluster going on here. We've got some smokies, Amazonite here. So it looks like it's 2 crystals in one, smoky and Amazonite, because I've never heard of smoky Amazonite. It could be a thing, but what I see here is an actual smoky crystal and Amazonite. It could be, you know, a crystal that's got Amazonite and then smoky quartz grow on top of it, so it's part of the whole same thing. Not much going on in the background. We have these 2 circles here with a bright pillar of white light that's going from top to bottom, bottom to top, both ways. And then we got some beautiful sparkles here. Oh, I do notice these like coins, I guess you can call them, these 3 coins. They do look like coins on each side. Not quite sure what that signifies, but if that is significant for you, then, you know, I'll leave it up to your interpretation. I'll be reading off this book as well, since this is the first card. But what I do know about smoky quartz anyway, I haven't quite memorized what Amazonite is, or not what it is, but what its healing properties are. You know, I definitely encourage you to look that up. Maybe look up smoky Amazonite, and that's actually a real thing, common thing. I just haven't seen that yet myself, so I may not know. But I know smoky quartz is the strongest crystal for absorbing negative energy, and it's actually the single strongest crystal that can absorb the most amount of energy out of any crystal stone out there. So it's a great one for people who notice that they have a lot of negative talk patterns, you know, talking negatively about themselves, saying they're stupid or they hate themselves. It's a great one for that. It's also a great one for if you have a very negative person in your home that absorbs up all that negative energy. Place where there's maybe a lot of fights, a lot of arguing, maybe even, you know, drug abuse or just overall negative situations. That's a great crystal for absorbing that energy. Amazonite, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about Amazonite, but it's got a very to the point kind of energy, but still unconditional, loving, and smooth, but very direct. So with that being said, let's go ahead and see what the card has to say here. A little bit of off topic. I am feeling guided to say this, but you know, for those of you who may or may not be crystal buffs and work with the energies, or maybe you're just barely getting into that, I always tell people that ask me when I go to psychic fairs, and my girlfriend and I both sell crystals and do readings and energy healing and all that at booths, and they're always asking, well, how do these work? And I always tell them, well, it's very simple. In a very scientific way of explaining things, everything around us has what we call a toroidal field, or an electromagnetic field, essentially. And at least this is the way I understand it. It might be a little bit more complicated or slightly different than that, but, you know, just reciting the best I can. But essentially everything has a frequency or field around it. So when there's a union of two energy fields that come together, for example, a crystal or stone and a person, those fields begin to talk to each other and they begin to transfer energy. And what happens is that the frequency or field of a specific crystal is like, imagine playing a song, and it's only that song ever, forever. That's what that crystal song is. And you play it enough by you, and guess what? It's in your head and it's memorized. And then it becomes, imagine if you listen to the same song every single day for multiple times a day, multiple hours a day, for as long as you had that song or crystal by you, or close to you, or on you, or by your nightstand while you sleep, or whatever. That would become second nature to you. That would become part of who you are, essentially. The culmination that everything makes, everything that makes up you. So that's kind of how it works. It's like this song playing, and you're by it. You're close enough to hear it, and so there's this transfer of energy. And the more the energy of the crystal, or the more you're by the energy of this crystal, the more your energy begins to match that vibration. And it begins to shift and change until the vibration of whatever it is that you're trying to work on with that crystal ends up rebalancing to the exact frequency of that crystal. That's how it works. That's how it works on your energy body and your mental body and your physical body and so on and so forth. That's how that works in a very simplified way. So, that being said, let's continue on with the reading. So, abundance, number 17, smoky amazonite, Regulus star. So the words here are actions, or positive affirmation words would be gratitude, visualization, and mindset. So attracting abundance or living abundantly is dependent on your framed mind, and the first step in allowing it to flow to you is believing and knowing that it is possible. I think that's plenty. I will read on, but to me that's the most powerful statement you could receive here. And I will read it again. Attracting abundance or living abundantly is dependent on your frame of mind, and the first step in allowing it to flow to you is believing and knowing that it is possible. Really, yeah, enough said. So let's continue on a little bit here. I do feel like I should read a little bit more. So the universe is here to give you all that you desire. So let the law of attraction work in your favor. Begin to visualize yourself with a full bank account, being debt-free, your dream career soaring to new heights, or a fulfilling relationship. Now, I'm going to stop there and just kind of reiterate a little part here that I definitely work with the energies of the manifestation and law of attraction, but there's a lot of misconceptions that people feel, and don't get me wrong, I've been here myself actually for a long time, but the reason why you want to do these visualizations and experiences is to begin to align with the version of yourself that will actually take the actions necessary and follow the intuition necessary to achieve those results. So it very strongly, requires action. That's not to say that there aren't things happening in the background that are aligning things for you. I fully believe that. Personally, 100%. I actually have had that happen in my own life multiple times, where it's didn't matter what actions I took, those things still aligned. And even if I took all the actions in the world, if certain things didn't align the way they did for me, then the outcome that happened wouldn't have happened. So there's definitely things happening behind the scenes, but a lot of people get caught in this trap of all this, energy and intention and mental visualization, but don't ever take the action step, becoming the person that achieves that result, taking the actions that person would. I feel like that's the perfect place to stop here. I don't feel like I need to move on. Actually, we'll skip ahead to one sentence here. It says, using smoky amazonite will help encourage you to be bold and speak your truth and aid you in attracting abundance. So that's a good one for you crystal lovers. Can find some smoky amazonite. You can always connect with the energies of crystals via intention too. You don't have to own it. Just so you know, there's crystals all around us. For all we know, you could be above a smoky amazonite where you sleep, and it could be in the ground 100, 200, maybe 1,000 feet down. You just never know. That's, something that's a possibility. But you can always connect with crystals even if you don't own one. It just, the intention and the energy is the most important part, but it is very helpful to have a crystal there for a lot of people. So a lot of people need to hold it, have that physical situation. So the second part of this card is actually a mystery card here. I pulled it and it was for decks 2 and 3, so I put it aside and I was going to allow myself to be guided to when it needed to jump in. And for number 2, it's jumping in right here. So let's see what we got. Quite a beautiful card. It says Insight. It is peach selenite is the crystal, and then it says Universal Chakra. The number is number 19, and it's a beautiful, beautiful picture. You got some light beings meditating in a circle here. You got some sacred geometry around them. These 4 peach selenite spheres or eggs right here. You got some golden rainbow light showing, and it's like in the universe. You see stars and galaxies and all these beautiful things. So that's a very powerful card, a very uplifting card. Whoever might have chosen section number 2 maybe is a big crystal lover. So using these cards, using these stones right now and connecting with these stones right now are very powerful for you at this time. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you getting these stones at your local crystal shop. Or if you really are guided to go through us, we do have a Facebook group where we post crystals. You can contact us with requests and so on and so forth. Again, you feel totally guided to do that. I'm promoting it, but I'm not saying, hey, you only shop with me. I'm saying, what you feel guided to go, what avenue. It could be your local crystal shop. It could be somewhere maybe not local, but still within driving distance. Whatever it is, go, always feel guided. Anything about this card? I'm going to read a little bit out of the booklet here. So we got 17 and 19. Very interesting. So here we got purity, healing energy, and protection. So what that tells me is that keeping your energy very pure, very sovereign, very high vibrational, just keeping yourself protected and on point, and especially not letting those around you or any external circumstances to lower your vibration at this time. For whatever reason, right now, if you're listening to this today, it's very important for you to keep your vibration high and keep your energies protected. Making sure you have the right people surrounding your life. It doesn't mean indefinitely, it doesn't mean forever, but right now, definitely doing that. Taking the steps necessary to protect yourself. So having a good mental experience or process to put up your barriers of protection. A very simple way that I have taught others to do this is to simply imagine a bubble of white light around you. Some also may have imagined, a pyramid of white light around you. Whatever feels right for you, go ahead and do that. Personally, I found the most powerful method is imagining you're in a pillar of white light, a bright light that's shining down straight from Creator or the universe or God or whatever whatever word you prefer, that light coming and emanating from there, surrounding you and reaching the center of Mother Earth, which is raising your vibration, it is protecting you, and it is grounding you all at the same time. I'm only guided to read the first sentence. It says, to gain true insight, you must go within. So, going within you shall. I'm going to pull the next card here. The next card we have is like attracts like. So this one came out inverted, and I must have just pulled these inverted. I think that's what happened here. But it's kind of the same thing no matter which way you look at it. So like attract like. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip that over. Keep that in mind. The energy that you hold, that's the energy of which you're attracting. So this is very much a pooling or a deck of tower, I guess, of cards, or an intention, overall energy of cards, of keeping your vibration high, keeping your energy sacred, your space sacred, yourself sacred, and keeping yourself protected. And while keeping that, you have abundant and beautiful results. So it's kind of like, you know, you're at the end of a race and you're tired, but if you let up, you might come in second or even third place. But if you keep on going at the same pace, you're good. You're going, then you're good. You'll cross the line, first place. You're good to go. That's kind of what I'm feeling off of this deck. So even though sometimes you might allow yourself to get really frustrated, or something happens, or you know, your significant other blows up on you and you just want to blow up back because they hurt you, you know, even though that might happen initially, what really raises your vibration back is forgiveness, is love, is choosing, you know, to admit maybe some wrongs that you did, but being open and understanding that the most important thing is to be in a loving state, you know, to being in a state of forgiveness, in a state of cooperation and companionship, instead of just staying headstrong and being upset or annoyed or whatever. You know, figuring out what you need to do to harmonize the situation. Doesn't mean, you know, bend over and take it, but it does mean harmonize, figuring out what you need to do to harmonize the situation. Okay, so the next card here is the Gold and Silver Violet Flame Dragon. Very interesting card. You got some sacred geometry. We got the butterfly again that we got in the other card, but this is a different card in the other, card pull number 1. You got some sacred geometry that's both here and in the background, which's got a triangle, it's got a square, and it's got a circle within a much larger circle. Says transmutes the old around you with wisdom and grace. It's time for transmutation, magic, and healing. Offer service under grace. So I feel like that's a card that says it all. It's turning what you've learned in your life into gold, essentially. Turning the past experiences into something light and love and high vibrational. So for example, you know, maybe you had an argument, and this is a constant argument with a person, maybe family, friend, relationship partner, and you notice you've experienced this pattern before, and you can either continue the same pattern as before and stay mad at each other until someone says sorry and blah blah blah, or you choose a lighter path, a higher path. Maybe you have a little bit more of an open conversation, and maybe you apologize, or maybe you say how that truly made you feel, you know, and not engaging in the negative aspects of that. So that's what that says to me. Next card, we got the Corn. So Corn is actually a very powerful card. It's a very fruitful card. It's growth, it's life, it's nutrition, it's It's abundance. Corn is very high in abundance. It grows a lot, high yield. So that card is number 10, and I will be reading that real quick here, part of it anyway. I feel like I only need to read the gift section, so I'm gonna do that. Sorry, not the gift. It's in this particular deck. It's called the medicine. I'm actually going to read two sections. So first I'm going to read the essence, which that to me is like the gift. I had that backwards. The order in this book is different than the order in some of the other books. So the essence, corn represents the mother of sustenance and tangible abundance. This symbol represents material prosperity in the world, a form that provides stability and sustenance to many. There's more than enough. So the medicine section, which is like beware, these are things to work on, maybe shadow work, so on and so forth. That's what this section is all about. It says, beware of shortcuts to your dreams or a fast track being offered to you now. Be especially mindful of your feelings of entitlement or an expectation to get something for nothing. This is a time for gratitude, perseverance, and humility. And that's all I feel guided to say on that card. So the very last card in this is card number 39. This is called First House. Subname is Arrival, and it's got a beautiful, beautiful deer with like flowers growing all over its horns. We've also got planet Earth right here, and the deer surrounding it with this beautiful sacred geometry around it. I guess you would call this a buck. So the energy of the deer or a buck is like following the path, being on your path, your life purpose. Following that deer trail that's carved out for you already, that path that's been, in a way, walked on already, but it's already laid for you. Following that path that you predetermined for yourself before you came into this life. That's essentially the energy behind that. Definitely look up deer or buck spirit animal and see what that comes up for you. So that particular card, let's see what it says. So first house describes how you enter the world, your first impressions, and the birth of your journey of self-discovery. If your chart were a village, if your chart were a village map, the first house would be the gateway and information center. So, the first house would be the gateway and information center if you're in looking at a village map, essentially. Planets in the first house are just about to rise over the eastern horizon, where the sun would be just before dawn, so we feel them strongly. So it's a very strong astrological card, or astrological sign with this card. So for all of you who may be interested in astrology, that might be something for you to look into and see what this all feels. I'm going to skip over to the challenge and the gift because that's what I feel like. Actually, I want to read this sentence first. If you strive to be invisible, neutral, or enjoy an air of mystery and play your cards close to the chest, it becomes easier for others to project their assumptions onto you. So again, I'll read that again. If you strive to be invisible, neutral, or enjoy an air of mystery and play your cards close to your chest, it becomes easier for others to project their assumptions onto you. So it's like if you play it safe. That's what I'm feeling. It's like if you play it safe, it's going to be easy for others to trigger you or to change the external, not necessarily others, because it could be external factors that don't apply to people specifically, in your life. but external factors, if you play it safe, external factors may knock you off balance. Okay, so the challenge section here says you are challenged to see beyond the shallowness of appearances, see behind smoke screens, and take responsibility for how you are perceived. And then the gift section, it says the gift, evaluate how you interact with the world as the beginning of a journey of self-discovery. I think that's a very powerful way to leave that. So again, this one feels like it's everything. It's like guidance overall. It's like you're in a powerful state of abundance and transformation and transition, but you want to keep your energy safe. So the smoky quartz, remember when I said the energy of the smoky quartz is really good at absorbing negative energy. It's the best negative energy absorber out there. Keeping your energy high vibe. Over here we talked about keeping that energy all high vibe. Over here it's learning from your mistakes, transmuting the energies of the old into new positive ones. Here it says like attracts like, so your energy creates the circumstances in your life. So if you have a low vibrational energy, unhappy things are going to happen. That's the things that you're going to attract and you're going to see into your life. And it's not just only about bringing them into your life, it's about perspective too. If your vibration is low, your perspective about that situation is going to be a low perspective. But if it's high, it's going to be a high perspective. Constructive criticism versus feeling judged, that's the difference. It's the same amount of information that's coming through, but on one hand, someone might feel like, oh, that's good constructive criticism. I can take that. I feel into that. I can understand where they're coming from, and I might be able to apply it in my life. Versus, oh, you're just judging me. Same situation, two different perspectives. We had the corn over here, which again is abundance. It's about having a lot. So making sure, this also feels like time related. It takes time to grow corn. So maybe right now is the time to feel into that abundance. And then the full house is that last card. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to card pull number 3. So we've got the card at the top, which is the Wild Woman. That is the name of the card. There's a lot going on here. It's basically a woman, interestingly, like a really light lime colored green skin. Almost looks like a pattern of a butterfly coloring on her skin. She's got like bush and tree for hair. Very tribalistic, very aligned with nature. Obviously very, very feminine because it's a female. There's this interesting circle over here that doesn't necessarily look like the moon or a sun. Not quite sure what that is, but we'll leave it up into interpretation. You see little beautiful birds over here and like wood and roots down here. So very, very interesting card. This is card number 62, and I will be reading off what that means here in the book. So personally, what I feel off of it before I read, let's see. So what this feels like to me, it's obviously one with nature. That kind of comes very clearly. It also feels free. It feels unboundless, if that's a word, without boundaries. Free to move as you please, free to do as you please, but always doing it aligned and one with nature. Not just doing whatever you want for the sake of doing it because that's what pleases you. It doesn't matter what you do to others. This is more like you're free to do what you want, what does please you and bring you joy and happiness, but also always in alignment with nature because that's important to you. So that's kind of what I'm feeling off of that. Interesting coloration in the background here is you've got some like golden yellow light. It almost looks like a silhouette of an even larger bird. So maybe like a eagle or something soaring through the sky, or a shadow of it or something. That just caught my eye under the light. And the eagles is a great spirit animal for freedom, for choosing one's path, and I highly recommend, if that resonates with you, looking up what that spirit animal means. Also, the golden light is a very strong vibrational light. It's a very loving and kind and unconditional love, no matter what you do, kind of energy that comes off of it. For those of you who may have read Dolores Cannon's books and some of the other information about, Jesus in his times, not in a religious sense. Personally, I'm not a religious person, but I do believe he did live in some way, and he did perform the miracles that he did today. And my belief is he was just basically teaching, what today is known as spirituality, of using your gifts and abilities and following your life purpose and so on and so forth. So, but a lot of people said who had witnessed his healings that a golden light would come from his hands. So that's a little bit about that. Then we have this beautiful greenish blue colored light or sky over here on this side of the card. So that's really interesting. I just wanted to notate that. Okay, moving on to the book. So number 62. I will read the whole thing on this one. So we're gonna, like I said before, if you have listened to the other segments, unless you decide to just skip ahead to this one, there's 3 segments in almost every book of the Oracle cards. And they all essentially mean the same thing for the most part, but they're worded different ways. For example, in this book, it's the first section is the essence, so the essence of the card, its meaning and energy behind it. The invitation is more of the invitation to take action, guidelines, ways to take action. And then the medicine is what needs to be healed, what shadow work. So we're going to start at the beginning. The essence: when the wild woman dances into your reading, she reminds you of the essence of authenticity and freedom. Divested of all social constraints and cultural conformity, the wild woman holds up a mirror to your essential self, the true essence of who you are and who you're meant to be. She is a reminder of the bright light within each of us that gets dimmed by the restrictions imposed upon us by the expectations of society. She reminds us that in order to be fully present to life, we must uncover that light and let it shine brightly, regardless of the perceived consequences. So that is the essence of this card. The invitation. When the wild woman comes to dance in your reading, you're invited to shine brightly and to know that your true self is being called out to engage the world. This is a symbol that your long-held dream is beginning to take root and wants to be expressed. Your authentic self doesn't fit in a box. It needs the freedom to shine. It's time to have courage and step into the light. The wild woman says, shine brightly, dance with abandon, be yourself, and let the Great Spirit decide what happens. You'll be happy you did. Love that section. So the next section is the medicine. So this is for what things to ponder on and work on and heal within yourself, and maybe change things in your life that bring you more in alignment with the essence of this card. So the medicine says, excess for its own sake is a sign of imbalance. This is a warning that you may be trapped in obsessive thinking or behavior, looking for release in places that will never provide it. Let go, lest you become like the hungry ghosts of Chinese Buddhist lore that can never be fulfilled. True release comes from trusting the fluidity of life, understanding that just as a river needs its banks to flow through, so too do you need boundaries around your thinking and behavior. Now is the time to simplify, be mindful, and connect to that light within. So it's, like it said here, obsessive behavior, obsessive thinking, information, things like that, I should say, actions like that happen in your life. This is to come into your life to bring or shed some light into some of those things that you might be doing. A lot of times people don't realize that they have negative self-talk, until this comes into their awareness and they start to, view their thoughts from an observer's perspective and realize, oh wow, that's actually I say all the time. I say I'm an idiot almost every day. Things like that. A lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of that going on in most of us, especially those who haven't delved down their healing journey just yet. Maybe they've dabbled, but if you haven't full bore committed to achieving the highest version of yourself, the best version of yourself, then that's a great place to start. Okay, so that's the book right there. Now we're going to move on to the next card. So we've got a dragon card here. We've got the Emerald Dragon. Brings in healing and cosmic abundance. Good fortune is coming. Let your thoughts support your divine perfection, aligned with your fifth dimensional blueprint. So beautiful emerald green dragon in a field of what looks like to be roses. That's up to your interpretation. I will let you decide. Let me make sure it's... Sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't centered. Yeah. There you go. Good, nice view. So, kind of what I feel off of this, if you're looking at chakras, the green chakra is the heart chakra. So working on that heart, that emotional body of yours, the emotional aspect of yours, reconnecting to love, reconnecting to what's important to you. It's a really good card, a really happy card. You can see that dragon's really enjoying himself out in that field of flowers, and there's an abundance of them. And it can be very healing, much as the card says. It can be very healing being in this space. It says good fortune is coming, which is all amazing, and then let your thoughts support your divine perfection. So that kind of aligns with what the medicine said over here, where we talked about thoughts and how negative thinking can bring you down, but being aware of them is, the most important step. It doesn't mean you have to, oh my God, I need a hard stop, you know what I mean? And then if you do it again, you've ruined everything. No, it's like being aware is the first step. And then now that you're aware, you can put mental, energy, mental thought into shifting it. And shifting things doesn't happen overnight. So, be kind to yourself a little bit. Understand that there's a process to finally achieve the result that you want. It's not just going to happen overnight because now you're aware of it. So, aligning with your true nature. And it's kind of playing off of each other here. So you're aligning with your true nature. I think that's like in this particular reading, I feel like this is like the foundation and it's going to work its way down. Unlike card number one card pull number one and card pull number two, both of them were slightly different, but card pull number one had your card like aspirations to reach at the top, and then it was your foundation, your bottom three. The next one's like things to work on, and then this was like your end result. Number two was like it all applied evenly, and then this to me feels like this is starting place, so to speak, and then it's working its way down. So it's like present, and then future going on. So that's that card. Next card, we do have another dragon card. We have a rainbow dragon. Very neat, very cool. It's flying through the air and it's creating a rainbow, and there are clouds and the sun's in the background. Now these clouds aren't puffy white, they are kind of dark and stormy. So, but storm doesn't mean a bad thing. Storms actually bring a lot of life to the area because when it rains and it's, adds nutrients and water to the ground so the plants can grow. And then electricity plays a big part too with, thunderstorms. It re-energizes the energetic field around us, which could play a part in the health of the area of the plants and animals on some subtle level. So brings a leap of joy that opens new doors. So it's very joyful. Everyone loves seeing rainbows. I don't know anyone who doesn't love seeing rainbows. They're quite magical. So it also says have trust, rediscover wisdom, expect miracles, accept opportunities. Have trust, rediscover wisdom, expect miracles, and accept opportunities. All wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guidelines to follow through. We are going to go peek into that book this time around. So I just need to grab it real quick. This is not one I was intending to go through the book, because it was more of like what I would call a context card that adds more context to the main deck I was using today. The main decks, I was using 3 main decks, and then I had a few context decks to add context to the whole thing. But I will be reading for this one. This is the first time I've opened this book. It's a brand new deck, so just give me a second. They're not numbered like some of the other ones are. I wonder if it's... No, it is not. It is not in alphabetical order, so I just need to find it. Here it is, Rainbow Dragon. So this section already talks about what's going on here. I will read the first sentence. That's what I'm guided to read. Actually, the first 2 sentences, and then I will skip to the guidance section. So about a rainbow in the sky is a cosmic gift. If our heart leaps with joy and gratitude when we see one, the universe opens new doors for us. I love those 2 sentences. Quite amazing, quite powerful. If you really feel into those, maybe even pause a moment, pause the video, and feel into that. I'll read it again. A rainbow in the sky is a cosmic gift. If our heart leaps with joy and gratitude when you see one, the universe opens new doors for us. I love that. So the guidance section, that's where I feel guided to go next. So guidance, this is a card of hope, prayers, expectation, and gratitude. Look for opportunities, expect miracles. When new openings occur, seize them. Sometimes you may hardly dare to believe that good fortune has sought you out. So make sure you accept it consciously and unconsciously. Do not let it slip away. Remember to thank the Rainbow Dragon who has come to you for opening new doors for you. Ride with the current of life this dragon has brought you and enjoy everything that comes your way. And I feel like that's the stopping point. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. Even though there's more to read, I am allowing myself to be fully guided so that the appropriate message for the right people comes through. So we're going to move on to the next card here. So again, remember, this whole pull is a little different. This is your foundational card. This is where you're starting. This is your now energy, essentially, or what your now energy should be if it isn't. And then it's working its way down through these. So this is like bringing more joy into your life, bringing more joy into your life, healing, can be healing, and like overall, this row right here over the 2 dragons, it's like changing into a more positive perspective and mindset. Or not necessarily changing, but learning to grow to a more positive perspective and mindset. So I got this card next. It is Stand Still, but it is upside down. Typically that's like instead of following the card, it's more of like, or what it says on the card, it's more of like the reverse aspect of that, which can be in some instances negative. But I feel like in this instance, it's not. This is saying stand still, where you take you stop, you take a moment to smell the roses, you meditate, maybe you re-examine your life, so on and so forth. It is upside down, which to me means like now's the time to move. Now's the time to take action. Now's the time to change things in your life. Now is the time for intentional transformation. That's what that card is telling me. It is number 52, if that resonates with you for any way, shape, or form. And I guess in a way, if you reversed it, it would be a 2 and then a 5, so 25, but that's, obviously doesn't look like a 25. I don't know if that's important or not, but I will let you decide. All in all, it is a beautiful card. It's like you're meditating on a rock outside of a beautiful temple. And there's light rays up here. There's a really cool doorway with some, mandala architecture, some really pretty architecture on this card. And obviously the light is shining through and around you. So move, be active, take action, and be the light, essentially, around you. That's what I feel off that card. That one is going here. Next card we got is the Descendant card. It's the Invitation. So, I love these cards because they've got such beautiful geometry, sacred geometry. This is like a star almost, I feel like, and then you got clouds up here and down here, and then there's light radiating. You got gold, you've got purple, you've got a rosy peachy in the center, maybe some magenta between that and the purple, and it's just beautiful colors. And then you got some color in here as well. This is card number 37, and I will be reading that one for you guys. Okay, so I'm guided to read the whole shebang on this one, so we're gonna go ahead and read this together. While the Ascendant describes how you enter the world, the Descendant is the place where you invite equal others to come into your world. It describes how you see these peers, what you project upon them, and what you were trained to respect in them. The Descendant is where the sun would be a sunset. The action. Look at how you invite others to dance with you, to relate. Be welcoming while also keeping healthy boundaries in place. Once you feel comfortable about your ground rules for the people you bring into your life, it is easier to open your heart. If you notice that you keep people at a distance or avoid meeting new people, investigate this habit. Though it might have been important to protect you at one time in your life, consider how is it working for you now, and what would help you feel safe enough to open the door. So with that being said, to kind of rephrase that a little bit for possible better understanding for somebody would be, at some point it was important to protect yourself and guard yourself, and maybe not necessarily surround yourself and maybe disconnect from people. But now it's saying now's the time to figure out what you need to do to feel safe, to now invite the right people into your life. Align yourself with your right tribe, your right group of people, or maybe, singular, a person. So that's what that says to me. Continuing on, it says, also notice in what areas of your life you ask other people to do your work for you. The Descendant can point to what you might try to import from other people. While this practice can refer to an important skill in a work situation, it has its dangers in a personal relationship. If you feel disempowered, you might be drawn to powerful people. If you're an extrovert who inwardly craves emotional and spiritual intimacy, you might draw in someone who helps you cozy up at home. It's wonderful when others can help you develop latent characteristics within yourself. But if you ask them to do this work for you and they leave, there goes your resource. If you see them as only an extension of yourself, you can't really see them. When you developed your own resources, you can see these others as whole beings with their own needs and gifts. The challenge part of this, very short, you give your power away when instead of working together, you ask others to be what is missing in yourself. So it's, very communion based, very group-based, very working together kind of thing. So this is like also a card telling you that maybe you have some sort of venture you want to do, project or whatever. It's time to invite the right people to maybe give you a different perspective on the project, or to even help you all together, coming together to create something more beautiful than if it was just yourself. Okay, so the gift section, also short. It says, tend the inlet to your heart. Invite in relationships that are clear, healing, nurturing, self-responsible, and encouraging of mutual evolution. I love that. The only thing I'd say about that is I've learned to understand that loving, nurturing, caring, healing, and transforming relationships aren't always look amazing. A relationship that might have, whether it's friend, family, whatever, that has some challenges can actually be very nurturing, very, very uplifting, transforming, and healing, because it might be the exact challenges that you need to experience in your life in order to overcome something that you have been that you haven't necessarily overcome before, whether that's willingness or maybe you just didn't know it was there or whatever. So keep that in mind. I am guided to pull that extra card that was actually for stack 2 and 3 now. So this one's going to go right in the middle. This is a little different. All the other cards had 6 cards. Stack number 3 has 7. So in case you already saw this card in the last card pull, number 2, then you'll recognize it. Otherwise, it's a new card for you if you only skipped to this section. So it is card number 19. It is a crystal card. The crystal is peach selenite. It works with the universal chakra energies, and the keyword is insight, or the card name is insight. As I described before, is you've got 4 beautiful egg-shaped or sphere-shaped peach selenite crystals in the center. You got a couple light beings here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Interestingly, I didn't count them before, but there are 7 light beings. And we're talking about, working with others. So isn't that nice? And they're all working together to... It's like they're shining these rainbow lights up, and they're this beautiful cosmic, picture in the background, and there's some sacred geometry circles around them. So it's like they're all working together for one singular intention, bringing out beauty and light and love into the world. So that card there is insight. Put it right there. There we go. I will read a little bit about that one. I'm not guided to read a lot. So let's see what this card says. I feel like there's one sentence that I need to find. Here it is. So the one singular sentence I'm guided to read is, your body has its own flow of energies or chakras that contain boundless potential to receive messages and clarity from the universe, holding your universal chakra. From the universe, including your universal chakra. So, I do want to read these little sub-names. It's purity, healing, energy, and protection. To me, that says, begin to understand and learn about your energy body and connecting with that. And also, maybe if you're a psychic person or highly intuitive person, it might be telling you to use your gifts and abilities. It's time. That's what I feel, what's going on here. Again, I feel like saying that again. It's time, to use your gifts and abilities to bring that out into the world and to work together, taking action, working together, but having your healthy boundaries and being free from external factors, being uniquely you to do all of this. And it's time to bring your gifts and abilities out into the world. Ain't that lovely? So the last card here, we've got Mercury. Funny enough, it says messages. We're just talking about psychic, being psychically gifted. So maybe that has a part to play. We have the number 20 here. There is a symbol up here. I don't know what it is, but it reminds me of like the symbol of male or female, how they're different. But this looks different than both of those, so I don't know what that means. Maybe that's something for you to look up. It looks like a circle with a upside down kind of cross attached, or an X maybe, or not an X, a plus sign. It's not really an upside down cross because the lines are even both ways, so it's more a plus sign attached to the middle, and then you've got this like almost half circle little shape coming off the top. You got a white and a black snake coiled up in this magical staff, and then you've got 6 wings coming off of it. So it can be very angelic when you have wings. This feels like a very powerful card, and I will be reading more on that. Let's see what that says. Number 20. So quickly before I read the book, it's like white and dark, almost like sense of duality, but they're coming together. So you're working with your light side of yourself and your dark side of yourself. And dark doesn't mean evil, it just means darkness. So what's the shadowed version of yourself? The version that only you really know, the emotions that only you know you feel, because others can't feel that for you. They only see the light side of you, the side that's portrayed on the outside. And only you know the darkness within yourself. And again, darkness doesn't mean evil or bad. It just simply means darkness. Now, does evil or bad sometimes can stem from the darkness? Yes, it very well can. But it does not mean evil or bad. Now, I know that the 6-winged angels, I think they're called seraphim. I'm not 100% sure. You might need to look that up if you're curious. But there's 6 wings on this really cool looking staff. And then there's like it must be Mercury, the planet Mercury there in the center of this tip of the staff. Okay, Mercury. Mercury symbolizes your mental switchboard, how you think, communicate, and move through the world. The smallest planet rules Gemini and Virgo and is closest to the Sun, completing its orbit in about 88 Earth days. 88 is also a very powerful number, a number of abundance and power. So because it orbits so close, it can only be found in the same sign as the Sun, the one before it or one after. Mercury has a large, dense, molten core, and one day on the planet takes 58 Earth days. Mercury retrogrades three times a year for 3 weeks, slowing time so you can remember, review, and reconnect. So again, that last section has a lot to do with astrology, which I don't know too much about. So if you're an astrology person or curious, look up some of those terms like retrograde, what Mercury means, and things like that. The action section, I will read this first paragraph. That's what I feel guided to. Then I'm going to skip over here and finish off from this word. Action, communicate. The mood is quick, fast, and cerebral. Look at your situation from many different angles. Be light on your feet and make sure you have all the information you need. If not, be ready to research, investigate, translate, mediate, check your facts, and learn. I love this first word where it says communicate, and that kind of conjoins, I guess I should say, with everything that's going on here with taking action, working with others, and so on and so forth. Moving on. Mythological Mercury could be a trickster when he worked for himself, but he also played the role of psychopomp. Not sure what that means, so look that up if you don't already know. So He also played the role of Psychopomp, dividing into the underworld to escort trapped spirits out of it. If you need to go down into your own personal underworld, it may be time to walk with a therapist, shamanic healer, or other integrous other integrous guide into that deep realm. So working on your shadow work here, working on your dark side. Challenge. When a quick mind is not connected to the heart, it can cause trouble. Watch out for the busy hamster wheel of the mind. Shallow thinking, scattered, dishonest, or gibbling approaches and mistakes made when in a rush. So we talked about that over here somewhere, I forgot where, but that was mentioned. And then the gift section, it says Mercury was the messenger of the gods. Listen deeply to the messages of your soul, the conduit to spirit, and become the messenger. Kind of what I read on the card here, where it was like time to express your gifts and abilities. So it's time to listen to your intuition, listen to your inner knowing, listen to the inner guidance coming through from maybe your guides or your higher self or other beings who are here to support you in ways that's for your highest good. So begin tapping in there. And yeah, so it's like I said before, this is your starting point, your current. Be free from your obstacles, you know, and then do some healing, do some things that bring you joy. That's this section here, working together, taking action. This was the card of taking action, even though it says stand still, it's upside down. So taking action, working with others, and then again, working with others essentially, but also beginning to be yourself and using your gifts and abilities. And then this card right here, Mercury, which talked about a little bit of all that. So that's card pull number 3. And that concludes all of the card pulls I have done. I hope that you have enjoyed this card reading, or multiple card readings if you resonated with multiples of them. I hope it helps you in ways that's for your highest good. It reaches all those who it's meant to reach in time, and it guides you. Even if it's a small amount, I have completed my mission. So all with love, all with gratitude. This has been the Golden One. Thank you for coming to visit my channel. Please consider subscribing. Please consider liking this video if you really did enjoy it authentically. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.